Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Your Average Critics, joined today by Ollie, Chris and Obi. How's your week been, guys?
Yeah, so it was good. Obi and I last night went to a Gatsby-themed party. So Gatsby is like the late 30s, early 40s, America. So it is actually a film based on the book. I like the film, but I'm not going to get into that just now.
No, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Was it Ollie? You were saying yesterday you think that it's easier or it's better for girls to dress up as Gatsby than it is for
so
guys.
they can dress up in a lot of like glittery things, but for guys it's just like smart suits, which we don't get to do enough.
No,
that's good. Well, the thing is, you're just wearing black suits. Like, don't you want to jazz it up a bit?
Hey, mine was navy.
Was it?
It was.
Yeah, he had a hat as well. Although the best thing about that night, I think, for you was getting a compliment of being a 32-year-old Jamie Foxx.
What?
Some girl asked me how old I was, and I was like, "Oh, I'm 32." And she actually believed me.
Oh, right.
And then we were talking about. Ollie asked, I said, "Oh, who do you think I look like?" And then she said, "Oh, who do you think Obi looks like?" She was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going with Jamie Foxx." And I was like, "I'll take that to the day I die." I'll put that on my grave.
She's clearly delirious.
She was wearing glasses though. That's the thing. So she's probably blind.
We're joined by Jamie Foxx and our first A-list celebrity guest. Welcome to the show. We're actually recording in. We always record in the same room, but this is a spooky room, isn't it? Like,
yeah, Chris's room is haunted.
Yeah, it definitely is haunted, and there's been some spooky goings on.
It's actually weird though. Can we actually think about this for a minute? Because let's quickly. I want to go through this. So a few weeks ago, we were in this room. We were talking about Ouija boards because Chris has a Ouija board that he doesn't want to use.
He never lets me use it.
A couple of people wanted to be like, "Oh yeah, let's play with it," and me and others were like, "Fuck that! I'm not even gonna dabble in the dark arts because you don't know what's like. Why would you want to tempt fate?" And we were like, "Oh yeah, let's just do it. As soon as that happens, the light bulb fucking went, and at that point we would have got up and left. I was like, I can't hack this anymore. And then so just now.
Yeah, so I hadn't heard this story until just today, and so I was like just joking around. Like Chris told me a story about turning on. He was home alone. He turns the light off in the kitchen.
A little creepy girl.
Goes upstairs and then sees the light on again. And you videoed yourself turning it off or something.
Yeah.
Just because like Paranormal Activity Chris edition. And then so I was just joking around. So I kind of went, okay, let's do a seance now. Put my arms open and went, oh, is there anybody here? And then the doorbell rang. And I literally crapped myself. That shit is uncanny. It's really,
haunted,
really
no,
weird.
it's not. It can't be a coincidence. I'm not having it, Chris.
Maybe we need to get a webcam so we
You need one of them fucking, what's it called, isn't it?
Holy water.
Yeah. You need a priest and with some holy water, yeah. Exorcism and all that.
Exercise this room. Alright, you mentioned Gatsby then. Let's talk about Great Gatsby.
Yeah, so, well, you said you don't like the film. I like the film, so Chris, hopes.
I haven't seen it.
I thought it was quite a good film.
You
It was a
like
bit
it?
long, but...
It's a sad love story, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a classic of literature, isn't it? I started reading it and again got bored, but I'm just not into all of that like big lavish productions, and I mean obviously they're enjoyable to some people, but I was not engaged with it. I mean it's directed by Baz Luhrmann, featuring Leo DiCaprio and
Tobey Maguire
and Kerry Mulligan.
They're best mates, aren't they? Tobey Maguire and...
What, real life?
Yeah,
Yeah,
real
Peyton
life.
Shells, yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah,
That's so random.
They've been together since they were kids acting,
Oh.
and they're like best mates.
And now one of them is a lot more famous than the other.
Yeah.
But okay, well, yeah, I just don't find.
I like it.
I don't find it engaging.
There's quite a few like twists and turns that you don't expect. So, well, spoilers coming up, but I don't want to ruin it for you.
No,
but-
I'm not gonna watch it.
So there's the bit where you think he's essentially killed someone because
DiCaprio.
someone
Okay.
So someone sees his like big yellow car run someone down.
Mm-hmm.
But the story was that we find out later that he wasn't actually driving. It was the woman that he loves. But he takes the fall for it really. So I didn't see that coming. And that was like
true.
I
a
can't
brilliant
remember the story. So give us a quick plot summary then.
Ooh, okay. So I've got to remember it now. So he is.
Rich.
He doesn't start off rich. He starts off as a soldier, and you think he falls in love with this woman,
Yeah.
but then goes off, and then I can't remember what happens, but he gets lost, or he inherits in inverted commas a crazy amount of money, and
Yeah.
essentially he's trying to get back into contact with this woman that he's still in love with. So he hosts these huge, extravagant parties. And eventually she comes to one of the parties and they'll have this, like, a bit kicking heels up, a bit of romance from the heyday. But then it all goes south because she's in a relationship, so she's having an affair. But then everyone finds out and they're all in the same room. And that is
Yeah.
just tense.
What's Toby Maguire's character's purpose? Is he there just documenting it?
Yeah, so it's from his perspective, really. It starts off as his perspective.
Yeah, he's like a writer.
His story, yeah.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Baz Luhrmann anyway. He did a film called Australia, which was about 10 days long, and not my sort of thing. I think he did. What else did he do? That Romeo and Juliet. I think that was the musical
remake?
one. Musical
With
one.
DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I like that film.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. Maybe I'm too cynical.
That's a good question.
Well,
Go for it.
What's your favourite film starring, with DiCaprio in it?
Oh,
Easy.
The Departed.
The Departed.
Okay.
Hands down. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Oh my god, you had
And
a go at
You
me for not
you
seeing
spoiled
Lion
the
King.
fucking ending for me, so... Well, not you, personally.
remember it?
But this podcast, innit? Fucking... something to do with Matt Damon and Mark Wahlberg. Someone dies.
Just watch it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's like not even that. That ending is just so not even relevant to the whole film.
Fair enough.
But,
Yeah.
If you took away The Departed, I'd probably go with Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
That's a good show. I like Catch Me.
I really
That is
like
a
that
really
film.
good film.
Loads of people like Blood Diamond, but
That's a good film.
I haven't watched it all the way through. I don't think.
I've seen it
Oh,
once.
it took me a while to get engaged with it. Really.
I always forget about that film.
can you do the impression? Please do it. Go on.
What, the South African
Yeah,
accent?
mate.
No, I'd probably be quite offensive to people if I tried to do
He
that.
does it so well.
What else has he done?
Django?
Oh God, he's done so much. Yeah, his performance in that was good.
And he did that improv scene, didn't he, where he smashed the glass
Yeah.
Cuts his
and
hand.
he actually cuts his hand. That is grim though, because he smeared his own blood in that woman's face.
She looks proper terrified.
Because it's real life,
yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
I reckon she had no
No,
idea.
yeah. I don't think anyone did.
Well, it wasn't
Something
meant to
wrong
be
with
part of the scene, I don't think.
No.
He just did it.
Obviously, you got Shutter Island. That's a really good
Shutter
film.
Island, Wolf of Wall Street,
Wolf of Wall
Titanic,
Street.
classic.
Not
Titanic.
Yeah. Meh.
Inception.
Oh, boo.
Inception, yes. I don't think that... Again, we've spoken about this before, but the fact that he won the Oscar for The Revenant, like, we've just named so many good films that he's been in, and like his performances have been consistent throughout. I can't really think of anywhere where he's had a bad performance. And have you seen The Beach?
Yeah,
No.
That's a really good film.
yeah.
Danny Boyle.
Oh, that petrified me though. So there's a bit he's like in the lagoon, and there's that shark.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes, so today we have literally just come back from seeing Power Rangers.
Woo!
Go Power Rangers. And our discussion is going to contain spoilers. So we'll try and put in the description when we start spoiling it, and then, you know, if you haven't had a chance to see it yet, then you can just skip forward. But let's start by trying to do a little bit of non-spoilerific. So
Alright, I'm going to say something, because I feel like if you haven't watched Power Rangers, you're not going to like this film.
and I
Nice.
didn't really.
Because taking it from the perspective of Glenn, you didn't like it as a
Fucking hated
film.
it.
And we liked it
Oh, yeah.
because we've watched Power Rangers and we do like, did like watching Power Rangers still.
Do.
Yeah. So I think that's what you got to take from this film, really. It's
Yeah.
a one or the other, I think. I think it was a bit...
But this is it, if you're an adult, like, you're not going to be that interested in a teen, like a teen superhero film anyway, because of there's certain... It's like people, like, obviously apart from myself, like, I like to watch, like, teen dramas and stuff like that. Like, I find them quite interesting. But I would say that most, you know, people my age, or maybe a bit older, who would go, 32, who would go to watch a film, which wouldn't find it, because it's not they can't relate to it. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously it's superheroes, so you can't really relate to it. But like the people who are acting in it, they're not their age. Their mentalities are completely different. So maybe if you're a grown adult, then that's obviously I feel like that's not going to be your sort of thing. But if you're from like obviously like children, but that age like maybe 14 to 18, you're much more likely to be engrossed in that film than you are.
Yeah.
If you're
Do you think it's appropriate for children?
Yeah.
Much more than a lot of the recent like 12. So this
But-
Power Rangers 12 certificate film.
That's what I mean. Like
It's a lot more-
they do swear in it.
Yeah, but you can say shit in PGs, and it's not that bad.
Oh, okay.
Power Rangers swear.
I know.
Well,
But then one of them also says mother.
Yeah,
and then,
yippee-ki-yay,
yeah.
but again, like children aren't gonna necessarily know
Yeah, true.
like that, and obviously that's a Die Hard reference, so adults will get it. I think this film, and you kind of alluded to it, it is a superhero film, but it's not as gritty as like even though like Marvel films aren't gritty in the same way that like kind of DC films are kind of veering towards, but there's certainly a lot more kind of, I don't know, maybe it is because all the actors are mostly adults, but it just feels a bit more, well, for want of a better word, real, kind of like, because Power Rangers is kind of in a sense like kind of theatrical and quite over the top.
Yeah.
I think they tried to make it. The thing is, for me, I think the aim for them, and I could be completely out of whack here, I could be wrong, but I think the aim was that it was aimed for the 90s kids. It wasn't aimed for the new generation. It was a bit, because obviously the whole Power Rangers of it, but...
Is there a current TV show of Power Rangers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, they're like on season 23 or something.
Jeez.
Yeah. But, like, I personally think that it was made for us. Like, it kind of... I think they tried to make it a more modern version for the 90s kids.
Okay.
Almost. That's why I think it was a bit more, as you say, gritty, almost, wasn't it?
No, I was saying this wasn't gritty.
This wasn't gritty.
No, it
well,
wasn't.
this is more darker than a TV series of Power Rangers. I would say.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that it would be a PG when it came out, but I mean, it was, to be fair, it was quite a light 12 in my opinion. But so the story, if anyone doesn't know or is not familiar with Power Rangers, basically is like, well, in this, again, you can kind of interrupt me if this isn't true for the TV show, but for the film anyway,
I'm
there's
going to tell you straight away, if you're going to start with where the film starts, that is not the same in the TV
so
show.
all the kids, all the teenagers are all in the same detention class, and then they kind of end up at a mine where they find these 5 different coloured stones. And
How did you go from detention to mine?
well, cause so one of the kids, his dad used to take him to the mine, and he said, "Oh, let's just go hang out there." And then,
Then it all
yeah,
happens, really.
then
yeah.
they find these stones and finds a spaceship and eventually become Power Rangers. It was basically the Breakfast Club meets
It
Transformers.
was quite Breakfast Clubby, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Thing is, I can't quite remember how it all starts in the actual thing.
I think I was trying to remember how it started, but I'm almost certain they do get detention for fighting. I think in the TV show, I might be completely wrong, but I think Billy gets into a fight, and then Jason and Zach break it up, and I think Kimberly and Trini are involved in it somehow, and I'm pretty sure they go to detention. I could be making that up completely, but I think that's how the first episode goes.
So the threat is that there's a woman called Rita Repulsa, and she's trying to find this Zeo crystal, which gives life to planets or something. Something like that.
Something like that. I was gonna say I quite liked how they kind of mixed Mighty Morphin and Zeo to get, because like in the TV series it goes from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Zeo Power Rangers. So then they use Zeo crystals, which aren't in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but they kind of like mix them together with the two.
Okay.
So that could probably be a lead off to when they turn into that in later films, maybe. But I'll tell you the big difference probably, and it might not necessarily be a difference, it may be the truth, but I don't think you ever get an origin story of where Rita Repulsa and Zordon know each other from. It's just in the TV series they are just enemies, and Zordon's the good guy, Rita Repulsa's the bad guy. She's been locked away, she's now been released. In this series you see that they used to be former Rangers.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite a good backstory, and I really liked it actually. But then on the flip side of that, I thought Zordon was a bit of an arsehole.
So tell us who Zordon is for those of you who don't know.
He's like the mentor to the Power Rangers, I guess, or he's the guy who tries to guide them to be in the Power Rangers almost. Although he does it in a very
very different way to how the TV show.
Yeah. Well, in the TV show, they tend to just know how to do all these things. Like they'll do the hand actions or whatever, and then they'll become the Rangers. But in this, he literally does not help them in any. He like gives them hints, which is frustrating because you just want him to basically tell them. But
Do they not normally have like a wrist thing that they slap?
they have a belt. Their belt buckle is their.
Do they not go like Robo Power Rangers or something?
They have a watch that they
Yeah.
can communicate with, and then they have
right.
their belt thing, which they got like they do like hand action forward with it in their hand, and then they say
Do you know what really disappointed me actually?
that they didn't do that.
I wanted to hear, Mastodon, all that shit.
Yeah.
When they so in the TV show, before they morph, they all call out their Megazords, and then they morph into whatever. But in the film, obviously, they don't do that. I mean, because it would be super cheesy if they
It's
did
so
it.
gimpy.
They did do loads of cheesy little bits
They
though.
did.
Like, what did
It
they,
was cheesy,
What did they
yeah.
say? When the guys he stand on the podium, he says like a catchphrase from the old one, or he says
Oh, it's morphin' time.
it's morphin' time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And you
then
kind of want things like that,
Yeah.
though, don't you?
Yeah.
Like when you watch the Hulk and he goes Hulk smash or whatever, or when you watch what's the Luke Cage and he says it's Christmas time.
Sweet Christmas.
Sweet
Christmas.
Christmas.
It's Christmas time. What a catchphrase that is.
no, but you also had
Mistletoe and wine.
Yeah.
Right.
you also had him when he said about the Mamazord, and he was
Yeah,
like, oh no, that's
Megazord.
rubbish.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Megazord.
That was cool.
But, yeah.
Okay, so as fans of the TV show, did you ever watch the TV show, Ollie?
On my 5-channel television.
Yeah.
No, I think I saw like part of an episode, and I one thing that I remember is, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but like back in those days they had like special effects, so they were like doing all their ninja fighting, and when they moved their arms, someone was doing like a like a sound effect, so it sounded like.
Yeah, so crap. But as fans of the TV show, then how does the film kind of live up to? I guess you had quite high expectations.
My
Oh,
expectations
mine's
weren't
low.
high at all.
Oh really?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
My expectations
Why were your
weren't
expectations low?
Because the
TV series wasn't exactly great. It's just so
hey,
light.
get out of here, Chris.
I meant
TV
visual effects and stuff like that. But yeah,
The sequel's never as good as the original, basically.
But
Yeah.
this isn't a sequel, is
But
it?
it's
It's a reboot.
yeah, that's basically a sequel. But me personally, I was saying earlier, I think that the film is well made. Obviously, because they've got a bigger budget and everything, and they can do better special effects and everything like that, like better CGI and all that. But the original films and TV show is better. But I probably think that because I watched it when I was younger and I liked it more. Like I wouldn't watch Power Rangers now.
You just did.
But I mean the TV show. Like I wouldn't watch the current series of Power Rangers now.
Because you're not ready to get demographic for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was trying to get to in terms of saying that like Marvel and DC films are a bit grittier. So they're actually more aimed at adults. Like obviously they're not adult films, but they're it's kind of they're they just are targeted more towards adults. Like a lot of the themes, there's a lot more consequence. Certainly in the later Marvel films, like you actually see the consequences of them destroying a city every other day. And is it Civil War where the Tony Stark meets the mother and she says like, "Oh, you killed my child in Sokovia," whereas there wasn't much of that in this. It was like they do destroy an entire town, but it was kind of like you don't really see the devastation that you get in especially the later Marvel films.
that's almost like a TV series though. They used to destroy cities and then all of a sudden it's okay.
Every episode.
Yeah.
I didn't like the film. I found it incredibly boring, and I felt that they spent far too long character building. Like, so the film's 2 hours long. It felt about 9, and it was only like the last 20 minutes or so, maybe even less, where they actually have they fight the bad guy. Obviously you need to, because it's an origin story.
Yeah.
You need to have a lot of character building, but
Is
I
there
dunno.
not? I feel like obviously the fight was at the end, but I think if we'd gotten fights like in the middle earlier and they were fighting them straight away, we would have just been like, oh, how do they know how to fight and everything straight away? So we spent a lot of period of them training and even learning how to morph. I think that was because when you're watching the Power Rangers TV show, like I'm pretty sure the first episode they morph and that's it, and they can all fight and they can all do whatever.
They could all fight before, couldn't they?
That's
Because they all
true.
did martial arts.
That's true.
But I see your
But
point.
you know what I mean? Like they could morph and then like straight away, and that was it. So I think it was kind of good to take it in like a different route. Like I kind of need to learn how to morph. Like it's not that simple. They need to learn how to morph. They need to learn how to fight, or at least be able to defend themselves.
I understand that. I mean, there is a kind of montage when they're in a fighting pit and they get holograms of all the
Puddies.
The what?
Puddies.
But again, they could have played that out a bit longer and you'd been like, okay, yeah, there's a bit more action. It was just a lot of it was kind of teen soap drama, which
I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
yeah, again that sort of stuff. I don't really like that sort of stuff. I do give it credit though for some of the themes it has. So I kind of felt maybe I'm kind of reading too much into it, but so they've got a lesbian character, so the Yellow Ranger. Well, maybe she could be bisexual, but she says that she has girlfriends, and then the Blue Ranger is autistic, or maybe he has Asperger's. So I think credit to them for having these characters, and it's just so normal. Like we were talking about last week, the Beauty and the Beast moment, which we'll come back to, but it was song and dance, like all this hullabaloo, like, oh my god, how dare they, kind of contentious controversy around it, whereas this is just kind of, hey, look, it is what it is. It's as a representation of teenage school life, I mean, when we were at school, we knew people who, were homosexual and on the spectrum of autism. And also I kind of felt like the Power Rangers as a whole is kind of like a metaphor for, diversity and accepting everybody. Because, I think is it the little robot? He says 5 coloured stones, 5 kids, 5 different coloured kids. And obviously that's on one level, they're all like red, blue, green, pink, yellow, whatever. But they were all different races, weren't they? So the main guy was white. Then the Yellow Ranger was kind of like Latina. Even the Pink Ranger, I don't know where she's from, but
From London.
Oh, she's from London. But then you also had the Asian guy and the black guy. So it's quite representational, especially as they again, like one of them is autism, one of them's homosexual. And it's all about them getting along, like becoming friends, and I guess on a bigger level is kind of like all these different cultures and ways of life coming together. So I quite liked that part of it. But then it was kind of a bit force fed when he says to Billy, who's the Blue Ranger, he says to God, what's his name? The Red Ranger. Jason. He says, I'm on the spectrum, and it's like you could quite clearly you kind of got that he was autistic. It didn't need to be that level of obviousness. And that kind of ruined it a little bit for me. It's like you've kind of got this character who, for the first 20 minutes of the film, it's kind of obvious that he's autistic, and then he has to explicitly say it. It's kind of, you didn't need that. Wasn't necessary for me. Kind of took away part of it. But then what did you guys like about it?
No, I'm joking. I thought it was really good. I
That
thought it emulated the TV series pretty well, and it brought back the old characteristics of it very well as well. And I was really, before we watched the film, I think you might be in agreement, you didn't like the suits, but when you're watching the film, they're actually pretty good.
They look better. Yeah.
Alpha 5, I thought it was going to be an alien. I thought it was going to be a bit naff, but
I still think Alpha 5 was shit. That's one of the things that's probably the main thing I didn't like about the film.
I thought Alpha 5 was fine again.
Alpha 5's the little robot.
Yeah. I don't know how many of them there are, but
I didn't like his voice either, or her voice. I don't know whose.
But I mean, the things I thought the Pink Ranger looked really similar to the old Pink Ranger, Kimberly. I thought the plug that they did was really good as well. Well, it was only short though.
What plug?
The cameo.
The cameo at the end.
So.
Well, I wasn't really given any spoilers, but I guess the old Green Ranger Tommy or / White Ranger and the old Pink Ranger Kimberly were at the end photoing the Megazord. Only thing that I was a bit, I thought it was a, what's it called when they do something wrong in a movie?
Continuity.
Blooper.
Almost, yeah.
I'd say what you were going to say.
So yeah,
Okay,
so basically the kid gets pushed and he's getting
Which
the
kid gets
bully's trying to attack Billy,
Okay.
and Billy's not getting hurt by it, and Billy gets his folder knocked out his hand, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
But then as he's walking away, he has his folder again, but you don't see him actually pick up the folder.
Yeah.
And then also the Red Ranger with the sword, don't know where he got it from, but then he ended up putting it back.
Yeah, I didn't know where he got that.
He
sword
literally magically made a sword, which I was fine with, and then he put it back at the end of the film. I
from.
don't get.
Didn't it come out of suit?
Yeah, but then he put the sword back at the end. He
But
put
he
the
never
sword back
uses
in.
the sword. Oh, it came out of his arm.
Yeah,
yeah.
So that I was fine with. I was fine with the sword coming out of his arm. That's fine. Like, that's his suit. It's the inner body suit that he's got.
Mm.
But then he, at the end, went back to see Zordon,
Yeah.
and he put the sword in a sword holster.
Mm.
And I was like, but what was the necessity of doing that? And wouldn't your sword just disappear when your suit came off? Just little minor things. And then also, I had an issue with it, but at the same time, I kind of thought they could get around it. Was when they were in the water and then they come out of the water, they're not soaking wet.
Yeah.
But yet they claim to be soaking wet, but they're not soaking wet.
That's true.
But then my thought was maybe it was like almost like a vacuum kind of thing that they dried them off. Then the comment about her being, because she said, one of them said their clothes was wet,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh,
They didn't look wet in the
no.
slightest.
So I was like, you've got to go with one or the other. Really, you've got to be completely dry because of this thing.
They were wet when they entered the thing, though.
But they weren't that wet. They weren't wet as if they had been swimming in water.
I thought they were. I didn't. I thought they all looked pretty wet.
Oh, okay.
Personally.
Maybe it was just me
I don't
then.
know. Maybe not.
Did you not think? I don't know. You saw it. As
Yeah,
well.
I didn't. It wasn't like they're drenched.
Yeah,
were they?
exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't really leave. They didn't really set up a sequel, which
Yeah, it did. Because
well,
basically,
only the post-credit scene, right?
well, not really. Because I think Rita Repulsa getting knocked into space could imply that she's going to be on the moon, which is where she was originally on the TV series. Then you also have the green Power Ranger crystal, which is now somewhere that we don't know where, because she didn't have her staff when she was in the...
Oh, I just assumed they confiscated it. I don't know.
Oh, so they might have the green crystal, but then the post credits. So that would be the end. So you could say that you could either have Rita Repulsa on the moon, you could have the Machine Empire come down, you could have Lord Zed come down, or like we said, the Green Ranger almost.
But it's not as obvious a setup for a sequel as a lot.
Maybe they did that on purpose, just in case the film
Yeah.
didn't do well. But then obviously they had the post credit scene where you get.
Spoiler.
But you had the post credit scene where you see Tommy Oliver, who was formerly the Green Ranger in the old TV series. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
setting it up for the
Yeah.
next Green Ranger. But they've announced that they're planning to do 5 sequels.
I mean, it's possible, isn't it? Because like you have all them episodes that you could feed off. You could have any baddie from any of those episodes. You could have several big main villains. Like whether they can pull off 5, I don't know. Maybe they're being a bit audacious, but
Well, the thing they can switch, because obviously there's loads of different. You got Power Rangers Mighty Morphin, that went for 3 seasons, and then after that they just kept changing like names, destinations,
Themes, yeah.
themes, and everything like that. So they could at the like after a couple maybe Mighty Morphin based ones start changing it based on like Power Rangers Zeo, Power Rangers Turbo, Lost in Space, Lost Galaxy, all them ones.
actually what they did quite clever as well was that I almost got the feeling they implied that these were the Power Rangers of Earth at the very beginning when Zordon was like 65 million years ago in the whatever era. He almost implied that they were the Power Rangers protecting Earth, and there could be other ones because it wasn't. They also implied that these crystals were a part of lots of planets, didn't they? Not just this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I suppose you could pull in space and all that stuff. But then character building for some of these other, if you're going to change it to different Power Rangers, I think character building is going to be somewhat more difficult.
Talking about the Green Ranger, OB sent us a link to their Twitter feed
Yeah.
where they basically teased the Green Ranger.
Yeah.
What? Why?
In hindsight, I am less annoyed about that tweet than I was originally,
So why originally were you annoyed?
because I thought that maybe in the post credit scene they were going to actually show the Green Ranger in his suit or whatever, I don't know what, but doing something. So I thought, why they could have just left that out. So right at the beginning of the film, they show Rita Repulsa to be of the former Green Ranger. So the fact that they showed it right at the beginning of the film, that means that them doing that tweet, it didn't matter for me, because it wasn't meant as like a sort of a surprise. Like they did it literally straight at the beginning. So I was cool with it after that. But I just want to say that I really liked the film. I thought that it was quite well made. The plot was fairly well written out. I liked how they like made it quite breakfast, like gave like a Breakfast Club sort of vibe. Like these 5, like because in the TV show they're all friends. Do they all start off as friends? I'm not sure if they all start off as friends, but they're all just like naturally friendly people. They come together and it's all that. But obviously it wasn't that similar in this film because they're all like from different backgrounds and blah 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 blah. But yeah, that was really good. And because I'm a massive Power Rangers fan, I think I was gonna probably like the film regardless of how it turned out, just because I like Power Rangers in the first instance. The only thing that that annoyed me was when Rita Repulsa goes to Trini's house and attacks her, and she's smashing all over the bedroom. Why didn't her parents come out and say, what the hell's going on? Like, literally, she was smashing all over the room, making all this noise. I was thinking, surely somebody would be woken up by this. That was actually the only thing. I was like, that's a bit silly. But
you were saying you kind of liked the Pink Ranger and her role, didn't you? Saying that.
Yeah, so she was. So obviously the Red Ranger is the leader, and there's quite a heavy-handed use of making him the leader, and quite explicit, like, you are the leader, you've got But she was, I felt, more ingenious and reactionary to the situation. Like, she's got a flying Zod. What is it? Zord. And she's quite good at. She was kind of taking a lead role in the fight, and the Red Ranger was kind of pretty crap. Her tactics were decent. So yeah, she could do a job at Arsenal, I think.
What about so Red Ranger looking like Zac Efron?
Oh my god, he's the carbon copy of Zac Efron. I genuinely thought it was him.
Zac Efron's pretty hench though.
No, but I mean, like, he looks a bit chubbier than Zac Efron
okay.
did. Although he had that 6-pack which came out of nowhere.
Really long 6-pack. Like his abs.
If you think he's chubby, then you must think I'm morbidly obese, mate. Jesus Christ. What do we think about the 5 sequels announced then? Do we want all of them? Like, do we want to know that there's going to be 5? Or...
I'm gonna watch all of them, so I don't care. I'll watch every single one.
Yeah, but they've announced 5 sequels.
Yeah.
If they do another one, which they probably will, and then that's not successful, then they'll just cancel them. Well, I think they're kind of, being a bit, like you said, ambitious. You might as well say, we'll start on a trilogy, or,
The thing is, I don't think they will cancel them though. Because I think, it's like we're saying, I think they'll just go and do a different Power Rangers. They'll just be like, Power Rangers 3 will be Power Rangers in space or something.
Yeah, but then if the first 2 aren't successful, why would they bother doing that? Because it's not going to make the money.
I think they're going to make money regardless. I think parents are going to take their kids to see Power Rangers. I think that is their
Power
money.
Rangers really that big?
I think it's
it's
pretty
pretty
big,
massive.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it just this side of the pond, or in the USA as well?
It's massive in the USA. It's
And
bigger
it's-
in the USA than it is here, and in Japan.
And Japan as well, because they always... They
They started it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Japan are always making these...
Fighting Godzilla,
Their
right?
one, and then the US make their one after.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what? So in the Power Rangers Mighty Morphin, I think it's like the first 2 seasons of Mighty Morphin. So Power Rangers started off in Japan, and then it was successful there, so they moved it over in English. So pretty much all of the fight scenes what the American makers of Power Rangers would do was they would take all the fight scenes from the Japanese version and be like, okay, we need to make an episode out of this. So they would take pretty much all the fight scenes. That's not done by any. They've all been done previously by the people in Japan. So
Do you mean they're literally taking the footage
they've
and
literally
reusing
taken footage and reusing
Okay.
it, and then doing a plot around what the fights are. And so you'll notice in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that the Pink Ranger has a skirt on her suit and the Yellow Ranger doesn't. That's because but in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the American version, the Yellow Ranger is a girl, an Asian girl called Trini, but in the Japanese version, the Asian Ranger is a man. So just a little quip there.
Okay. Because isn't that Fantastic Beasts? They've announced 5 sequels as well, and obviously Fast and Furious have said they're going up to 10, but they announced that quite a while ago as well. do we want to know that there's this many coming out, or is it? Because I kind of like surprises in a sense. You know, you watch a film, you're like, oh, I really liked that film. I'd quite like to see a sequel, and then the element of surprise is gone if you know that they're planning for.
True, because Incredibles would be a good example of that. I'm sure lots of us as kids wanted a sequel to that, and then was it 10 years later we're going to get one?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
Really?
yeah. Incredibles 2. Yeah, this year or next year, I think it's coming out.
Wicked.
I think there's a little bit of arrogance to announce that many sequels. They might have ideas for them, fair enough. But maybe this one does well, and you'd be like, oh, they've announced a sequel, and you'd be like, oh, cool, I can't wait for that to come out. But then it's kind of like, oh, you got the next 10 years of your life planned out with Fantastic Beasts and Fast and Furious and all these films.
Could you not say that about the Marvel Cinematic Universe though? They've got so many films.
Yes, I to an extent, but because they are mostly individual characters, and plus, again, that gets shifted around all the time, doesn't it? Like they cancelled Inhumans and made that TV show.
True.
So I guess a point of it is to build anticipation, and I get that. But if they said, oh yeah, we're going to do 8 Black Panther movies, you'd be like, go on, right. The first one might be decent. You're like, okay, well, I've got 7 more to do till the story's concluded, or potentially the arc.
I think the thing you got now with more recent films, and this is stemming kind of off of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Monsterverse that we're now creating with Kong. I think a lot of film franchises aren't necessarily doing it for the anticipation's out the window, isn't it? But they're not necessarily doing it to show confidence or show they've got ideas. But I think they're doing it to create this universe that they want. That each individual film company seems to want their universe out there. So you've got the Potterverse or Harry Potter, whatever they called it, Monsterverse, Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DC Universe.
There's also the I think it's Universal. They're doing the Mummy, and then they're also going to do Dracula and Frankenstein and stuff. So it's just.
I think so. They're just doing it so they got a good backing, aren't they? And then it entices people to go and watch them other films.
You need to create your branding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you could stem off of for Power Rangers because, however, they did have a few episodes, didn't they, back in the day with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Did they?
So,
that was funny. Yeah.
So they could have a time with that, although that would be pretty out there to do a time with that. I think they did a few others as well, but I can't remember off the top of my head who else they did.
Transformers would be cool if they could. Because they do make a reference to Bumblebee, don't they?
True. And also, actually saying that, there is a comic book, and I think I have mentioned this, Power Rangers versus Justice League.
Yeah.
So
I bought
the first one.
I bought the second one.
Oh,
Can I have the first one?
Yeah, you did,
Oh, you can get the second one.
Cool. But I mean, there's possibilities are endless throughout films. I mean, you could essentially cross over any of these universes with any of these universes because they are so far fetched, aren't they? But yeah, I mean, Power Rangers is a bit of a hard one though as well because I think even though there are so many different Power Rangers and so many different brands of Power Rangers, so you've got Ninja Force, Wild Force, all this, I think a lot of them originate on Earth. I think that is going to be their that's going to be hard to shift from one to another on Earth. But I suppose you got in space. You got.
Can I quiz you quickly, Chris?
Oh, go on.
I want to see how many you can name. If you can name them in order.
In order.
Yeah.
Oh, sugar! Mighty Morphin Zeo.
Yeah.
Turbo. In space. Yeah. Then it was Lost Galaxy. Yeah. Then it was. I want to say it was It was that. Was it the Wild Force? No. What was after that?
Lightspeed Rescue.
Lightspeed Rescue. Oh, that was a bit. Yeah. Then it was Wild Force.
Time Force.
Then Time Force was sick. Yeah, then Wild Force, then Ninja Storm. Yeah, no, I can't go after that. I don't think. Dawn of Thunder.
And then after that, I'm done. I don't know any after that. That was the last one.
That should be your mastermind question.
There's a few. I mean, season 23, aren't they? So, I mean, in the latest series of Power Rangers, they have their little morphing thing, but they have the image of all the old Power Rangers, and then they just literally get that figure, put it in their thing, and they're like, morphin time or whatever they say, and then they turn into one of the old Power Rangers.
Oh.
And apparently all the old Power Rangers have special abilities that they don't have, and so. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So talking about sequels, I don't know, Ollie, if you heard that Star Wars, they said they've got ideas for the next 15 years for films, like beyond
Come on.
Episode 9. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, like, Star Wars. It was good with the first 3 films that were made, not the first 3. You know, Phantom Menace and those 3. They were just rubbish, but. No.
You'll watch them, won't you?
Probably not all of them, because like I was really let down by the 7th one, and.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you guys saying that it totally takes the anticipation away, because obviously the Phantom Menace was actually made 20 years after the last film that was made, so there was like a big gap, you know, and because obviously Star Wars is like a huge brand, so I don't want to know that, because then they'll just dilute the story, and then like with the X-Men, there's loads of continuity errors that you guys talk about, so that I think will kind of let it down, but keep it alive, you know.
It's like the same with shows. Like some kind of properties just need to end, and then they'll be, you know, perfect in their containment. Whereas you just keep adding more and more and more. And again, like to hammer the point, if I know there's going to be 15 years worth of Star Wars films, I'm just be like, I'm not, you know, it doesn't excite me. Whereas when they're saying, oh, we've announced Episode 7, I was like, oh wow, that, you know, that's going to be so cool. Can't wait to watch that. But if they'd said at that point, we're going to do Episode 7 to 26, I'd be like, oh.
Didn't they say though, when they first made 7, that they were going to make a film every year?
Yeah. But they didn't say it was going to follow on, so...
So we knew they were doing 8 and 9.
Because obviously Rogue One was the very first...
That was really good actually, I like that.
So that was a prequel. But now they're going to be doing the story of Han Solo.
Yeah. Apparently Han Solo's name is not Han Solo. Originally. Apparently that's what the story's going to be about as well.
That's about his name.
I don't know.
Apparently rumoured Boba Fett one as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that would be quite cool. This goes back to like our discussion a few weeks ago about like John Wick and Assassins, where it's like now it's bounty hunters against each other. That's quite cool, you know.
Yeah.
Like it.
That's quite it's quite good. You can see the origin of why he became one, I suppose.
Well, I'm looking forward to Episode 8 this year. Okay, so let's talk about a film that, as far as I'm aware, is not going to have millions of sequels, and it's just a standalone film, which is quite nice for once, and that is Arrival. So you saw that recently, Ollie?
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
It was totally shit.
Oh, what? Why didn't you like it?
It was just so boring. I thought, with extraterrestrial life, it was like, so it's a space film.
Give us a summary.
So, aliens have come to Earth, and they're dotted across the planet, and each country is trying to essentially communicate with them. So the US, being the US, do a pretty good stand-up job. But what I did like about it actually was that it doesn't just follow the extraterrestrial, like the trying to understand their language, but it kind of follows not really the outbreak of nuclear war, because it doesn't really occur, but like humanity and our weaknesses is that each country wanted to keep up the secrets that they've learned. Not
sharing.
Yeah, because they thought that like the aliens would, you know, they could get weapons and things like that, but yeah.
No? What?
Not a fan, mate.
Have either of you seen it?
No.
It was up for a few Oscars though, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's one of the films that I said Amy Adams probably should have been nominated for. I thought it was really good. I mean, it's not your typical sci-fi film, because there is no action in it.
There isn't, no.
At all. And normally you'd think a film with no action is going to be pretty crap. I mean, obviously you do think it's crap, but I thought it was really thought-provoking, because it's quite a deep film in the sense that, you know, it's all about language and communication, but not just with the aliens, but with each other, like intercontinentally, or internationally. And it's all, you know, quite a human story, really.
But they ruined it with time. God, it really winds me up.
Yeah,
when
that was a bit
films,
of a weird device.
Trying to bring in the element of time travel, and essentially she can see the future, and she knows that something really dreadful is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And if you guys knew what was going to happen in the future, would you try and divert it, or?
It's going to happen anyway.
But it might happen in a different way. So if
there's always the theory, isn't there, that like
film,
if you go back and kill Hitler, someone just as bad will
or
take
something
his place.
worse might happen. You don't know, but one film I would suggest to you guys is A Time Machine. I think it's Orson Welles. Double check.
Okay.
And that's a classic. Like that's a genuine good film about time travel because it's essentially he creates this time machine, but the love of his life keeps dying, and he has to understand that whatever he does, he can't change like her fate.
That's like Rip Hunter in Legends of Tomorrow. So.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's also like anime that I watched. I watched Steins Gate, which I think is really good, which has the same kind of like plot as well.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the same with like Butterfly Effect, isn't it? It's quite a common plot device. But
But then with that, like he gets knocked out and goes into the future, and so that's it. That's the time travel, and then he's just stuck in the future because he can't go back. 'Cause his machine's broken. But like, yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd have liked it.
We've seen that machine, by the way, in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
That's the time machine.
Oh
they
right.
have.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that any good still? Big Bang Theory.
It's winding down to its conclusion. I feel. I think they should give it maybe one more season and then call it a day.
Are you gonna watch the Sheldon prequel thing?
I might watch a couple episodes, but I don't think it's going to be very good. Because I don't think Jim Parsons is a very unique, like the character of Sheldon's a very unique character, and he plays it like I don't think anyone can recreate what he does really, especially not probably a child who's inexperienced as an actor. I'm assuming because he's going to be quite young. I think.
Yeah.
Like teenager or younger. So I don't know. I'll give it a chance, but I'll give it 2 or 3 episodes. But I don't think it's going to be any good, personally.
Like you kind of almost when you hear Sheldon's stories of when he's younger, you kind of find it funny, but like it's almost unreal. Well, it is unrealistic what he does also, and for you to like then actually put that into a TV series and show that to someone might be like, oh, this is a bit stupid.
Because I guess you might have different imaginations of his story. So when he's telling it, you might think, oh yeah, this is how it happened, but then Obi, you might have a different setting or whatever.
Yeah, true.
And then if they put that onto film, then it's kind of like taking away the imagination of the viewer.
I mean, it's like what you're saying about like making all these films. Like, I'm sure a lot of viewers of films have their idea of the world that surrounds their film, and then to have all these other films come in and essentially just wipe their thoughts away and just have this cemented.
They've stolen my imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, on the flip side, there are certain things that I would love to see prequels and sidequels and spin-offs of. Game of Thrones,
Yeah, that's number one.
That'd be like, oh god, I'd love
Really?
to see that. Yeah. If they said we're doing a Game of Thrones series every year for the next 25 years, I'm like, this is going to be a good 25 years. This quarter of a century is going to rock. I want to mention a Twitter poll and a Facebook poll that we put out last week. So we discussed you guys discussed, in my absence, films you'd like to be remade. And then we kind of went from that and said, films that have either really bad endings that you'd like to be remade, or better alternate endings. So we had a few people voting, so thank you very much for your participation. And what was the main one that came out? Was it How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. Season 6 of Community.
Oh yeah.
And Dexter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Dexter, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And How I Met Your Mother, I also agree with that.
Yeah,
So
I agree
did
with
not
that
like
strongly.
ending.
Strongly.
I really liked. I thought it was a good concept of a TV series, and then to have, and then like throughout the whole series, I don't know if you watched all of it. So basically, and then you have all these snippets throughout like a few episodes in the season about the mother, and then in the end, and this is going to be a spoiler, so if you haven't watched it, don't listen for the next like 10 seconds. The mum dies. And it's him telling the story because his mum yeah, and he's telling the story because she's dead. That's how I'm seeing it. So he's telling the kids the story about the mum, and then in the end and then they say to him, "Oh, but you love Robin still. Go and get her." And it's kind of like we've been through this story about 3 times throughout the season that you love Robin.
Yeah.
Then you didn't go out with her, loved her, didn't go out with her, and then Barney goes out with her, gets married to her,
yeah.
then divorces her.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Do you lose interest when that happens? When you don't get the love story that you want? Because everyone likes a happy ending.
Yeah,
True.
that was the
I suppose
thing.
I suppose it is a happy ending in the end, though.
That was the thing with that anime we saw, A Silent Voice. I was like, just get together, please.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the whole thing, though. Like with anime, I think like loads of people want to have that discussion of whether they are together or not. Really, maybe it leads to a sequel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did mention Kong. I went to see that, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
From the trailers, I thought it was gonna be crap. I was like, oh,
Lot better than expected, isn't it?
Yeah,
What
it
did you
was.
enjoy about it?
It was. I really liked the thought that had gone into the creatures. So like, you know, that there's a part where Toby Kebbell's character is sitting on the log, and then it just turns into this like cute little, like stick insect or log
I
insect.
thought that was cute.
Yeah, the little cute face.
Wow, that was disgusting, man.
And then you got like the huge spiders, the giant water buffalo, like the pterodactyl little things.
Ants.
Pardon?
Ants.
They were ants.
There were ants, he said.
Oh,
Not that they
I
were
thought you said
ants.
pterodactyls were ants.
No.
I was like, God. But and also like the commentary on the sort of, I think you mentioned it, Chris. Well, maybe it was Obi. That these Americans just go into this place and just bomb it, and then it's like
Yeah.
they destroy everything there, and then they're like, oh, why are they attacking back? And it's kind of, they're just going into a place and ruining it, and it kind of what sort of colonialization does really. So it was quite cool like that, and the post credit scene set up was kind of cool. They Mothra, and I can't remember the other names of the other monsters. Made me want to watch Godzilla, even though I've heard Godzilla's shite. So building anticipation. I also went to see Beauty and the Beast. I know I'm a bit behind with you guys who've already talked about it, but.
I want to jump in, sorry. So you said you makes you want to see Godzilla, but with the sequel that they've got coming up, Godzilla vs Kong, I don't want either of them to. I don't want them to fight each other. They're both cool. I don't understand why.
I can't
they
imagine
would.
either one of them's gonna die though. Neither of them are gonna die.
Yeah, like Batman v
Or they're
Superman,
both gonna die, and it'll just be
Yeah.
that would be it. Game over.
I reckon it will be a Batman vs Superman thing where they'll start off against each other and then there'll be a bigger threat and then they'll eventually team up.
What's
Which-
bigger than Kong and Godzilla, man? Humanity.
Thanos. I don't know. No, it was good, but I thought maybe Brie Larson's character was pointless. She was there taking photos and she takes like one photo of each thing. I'm like, you've never seen anything like this before now. Like, why are you not like taking hundreds and
Maybe
photos?
a limited film.
And then in the post-credit scene, no, not even the post-credit scene. Right at the end, when they say, "Oh, none of us are gonna leak any of this," I was like, "What are you gonna do with your photos then? Why have you taken all these photos if you're not gonna publish them?"
Memories.
No, she's a fucking photojournalist. It's not for memories. It's not adding it to her Snapchat story just for lols. It's just that's
Yeah,
part
it's
of
for
her job.
confidential, so then they can say this is what you're up against.
But they were banging on about her winning a Pulitzer Prize for it.
Well.
So I don't know. I was hoping Brie Larson maybe would kiss King Kong and then he would turn into Dan Stevens. That'd be cool. Maybe it's like Beauty and the Beast on steroids.
We mentioned that last time we talked about it, that there wasn't really a love story, because
No.
there is in the...
I did like the
2005.
I liked the fact that they took it in a different direction.
Yeah.
Because there's the story of Kong where he goes to he ends up going to New York and jumping off the building sort of thing. We've seen that several times. There's the 1930s one. There's a one in the 70s, and then obviously Peter Jackson's one about 12 years ago. So it's nice that they had a different take on it, and they also referred to the older films, didn't they? So when he's got the skull crusher and he's pulling its jaw, and there's a part in King Kong, the 05
Fighting the
one.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, and he snaps his jaw, and also when in this one Kong falls into the boats and he gets covered in the rails, like in the Kong films, he always ends up on a boat, tied up, being taken to New York. So it was I liked the references there. I assume they were intentional, if not.
I don't think
If
anyone here picked up on that.
No, I
did
didn't
it?
at all.
No?
No, not at all.
Okay, fair enough.
You're thinking deep.
This
about
is
these
why I've got a
films.
degree in this shit. Cool. So talking about things that I did pick up on. No, talking about things I didn't pick up
Didn't
on.
pick up on.
So I picked up a lot in Kong, but Beauty and the Beast, I watched that and I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was gonna.
It was a spectacle, innit?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was.
Did you see the scene that everyone was
No, that's what I didn't pick up on. I was actively looking for this controversial
It's
gay
literally
moment,
nothing.
and I don't think they kiss at all.
Thank you.
I mean, their faces get close, but
Thank you.
whatever.
That's literally what I was saying last week.
And obviously, like, there's kind of a kind of homoeroticism between
Yeah.
LeFou and Gaston.
Yeah.
But it's not any more
No.
overt than you'd get in like Carry On films and like
Exactly.
kind of
I agree.
screwball comedies from whenever. So I was like,
I don't know if you can relate it to that as much because kids wouldn't necessarily watch that, would they?
well, those sorts of screwball comedies are always any
I
sort of
suppose,
comedy.
but-
There's always an element of like
But
camp sort of homoeroticism.
I mean, I
Um,
don't see anything wrong with it.
There's
personally,
nothing.
yeah.
That is the point. Like
Yeah.
there is nothing wrong with it. It's been blown up so much,
Yeah.
and I think people are seeing things that aren't actually there.
I
Like,
agree.
do you remember I don't know if you know, but with Psycho, the Alfred Hitchcock film, loads of people said, "Oh well, yeah, you see her being stabbed. You don't. You just see the silhouette of the knife in the in the curtain." And people say, "No, I did see it." And it's like, no. Even with The Dark Knight, when the Joker slams a guy's head on the pencil, people are like, "Oh, I saw it." You didn't, because it's not there. So I even tried googling it. I was like, "Beauty and the Beast, gay kiss." I was like, I wanted to see. Did I miss this? Because I
Yeah.
know you didn't know about it.
Yeah.
But I spent the whole film. I was like, "Where is it?" Because I want to know why this is so controversial. But good on Disney for doing that. And also, I think it was the first 2 interracial kisses in that film, with Lumiere,
All right.
and the one who was the feather duster, and then the wardrobe and the piano. So quite a progressive film. I really liked it. I
liked it too.
thought Jason Bateman. No, was it Jason Bateman? No, Ewan McGregor. Oh, they look exactly the same. He was the best part of it. Lumiere, the candle, and his French accent. Although, considering it's in France, like the fact that Emma Watson has no French accent at all.
Well, none of them do they?
No. Samuel L. Jackson would have said that a French woman should have got that job. But no, it was really good. And
Did anyone clap at the end in your theatre?
no,
No.
nah.
Do people clap in yours?
Yeah. When the
It's like Get Out all over again.
No, I know, but that was totally different.
when the film ended, people clapped because the last song ends quite like
Taylor's old as time.
like it's quite like dramatic ending, and then everyone just went. Clap.
Did you clap?
I didn't clap no.
I don't understand that. What's the point in clapping the...
My mum does that when the pilot lands.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I was like, "It's his fucking job." It was like, "Yo, we survived." Like, I don't know. I don't get clapped when I do my job.
clap the cabbie when you get out of the cab, innit?
Exactly. So Disney are doing live action remakes of their films. Apparently, they came out and said, I think they gave a specific date. I think it might have been like 2007. Any animated films done after that, they're not going to live action remake. So things like Tangled and Brave,
Frozen.
those sorts of things. Yeah, Frozen. They wouldn't.
For now.
For now, for now, they're not getting the live action.
Once they
remake.
finish them all in 10 years' time, I'm sure they'll be like, all right, we'll
Yeah.
set a date of 2016 this time.
But what other ones are they doing? I know you. I think you
Aladdin.
might have mentioned it last week.
Lion King.
Aladdin, Lion
Lion
King.
King and Mulan.
Mulan.
And
Little
Mulan.
Mermaid.
I
and no, Little Mermaid. They're not though. Didn't we discuss that? It's
So no, we saw. So before this, we watched a trailer for a Little Mermaid film, which we then found out wasn't Disney, but apparently they are still doing.
Oh, they're
one.
still doing one. Okay.
Yeah, they got to have Sebastian.
Did you say Lion King?
Yeah,
Yeah.
John
Do you reckon
Favreau.
that's going to ruin it for you?
I honestly don't know.
Well, you haven't watched Jungle Book yet, have you? 'Cause
I haven't, no.
See, if
Jungle Book's
if,
really
Jungle,
good.
if Jungle Book's good, have you seen it?
I saw the original. I haven't seen the
Oh,
new one.
see, if the remake's good and that's predominantly animals,
Mm.
then maybe Lion King will be just as good.
Yeah.
But I'm only saying because it is your favourite.
Yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I probably won't like it more than the original just because.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. But, I'll give it a go, and I'll probably like it just because it's Lion King, so.
I haven't seen Cinderella. That was the first live action remake they did.
Oh yeah.
Came out a couple of years ago.
Was it actually properly Cinderella,
Yeah.
or was it? What was the one where they're in the street and like dancing? And oh no, that's a different film. That's like
Les Miserables.
no, where some girl like some princess lands in the middle of like New York City. And,
Oh, Enchanted.
oh yeah, that's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
No. But Mulan, the thing with that, they announced that it's not going to be a musical and not going to have the musical numbers in it.
Okay.
Why, have they done a live action remake of Pocahontas? Because I thought they would
Don't
go,
think so.
they would go down that avenue before they went down Mulan, because isn't Pocahontas the more popular film? And it's like Asian sort of based lead characters. I just thought they would have gone Pocahontas first.
Maybe I'm confusing them. Is Mulan Asian and Pocahontas Native American?
Sorry,
Or-
yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
so maybe that's why. Maybe we're being cynical, but maybe I'm being cynical. But they're probably doing the Asian character first, just so they can appeal to, China and Asia, obviously. But
I liked Mulan.
as they're
That's a good film.
huge box office.
Yeah.
Hopefully they cast someone Asian in that role.
Imagine if they didn't.
Oh God.
Am I wrong in thinking that in Mulan there's a talking mini dragon?
Yes.
Wonder how they're going to do
No,
that.
sorry, you're not. You are right.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. I wonder how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Probably visual effects.
Do you think in the next few years they'll make like films such as, I know we've had Peter Pan and the remake essentially was Pan, and like
They'll
you've had
probably redo
Pinocchio. That's had like
Okay.
that's had a live action version of itself. It's not just
Oh.
a cartoon, but that was ages ago. So do you think those type of films that have had films already, do you think they'll remake them into like the Disney-esque type film? Because
Yeah.
Pan is definitely
I think they will.
outside the realms of what
And Hook.
Hook, or maybe that's. Oh yeah.
I think they will.
Mm.
But then, riffing off of that, what ones do you want to see? I want to see Hercules. Actually,
Did they do Hercules?
Yeah.
Was it a Disney one though?
Oh, probably.
I think it
Dwayne
might be.
Johnson, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it might be Disney, but it's
Oh.
not. It's not like the
Mm.
Disney film because it's almost. I can't quite remember, but it's almost like all the myths that where he's like got the lion's head, and it's almost like that's almost like I feel like it was almost like a joke in it, or
Okay.
it wasn't a myth. It was just something that happened. kind
If
of
they
thing.
did Hercules, they would have to do the songs because the songs in
Yeah,
Hercules are sick.
Hercules is my favourite animated Disney film.
Mm.
But then again, maybe I don't want a live action remake because it might ruin it.
They would have to do like that, the Captain America style skinny guy transforms into big
Yeah.
muscly guy in it for Hercules.
Yeah, I mean that really didn't work in Captain America 1.
Don't do this to me, girl. I'm not.
That's a
I'm not in the mood.
Discussion for another day. I feel.
Not today.
But
Other ones that we would quite like to see maybe.
I haven't seen that many.
I can't think of anything other than, Peter Pan. I like the stories of Peter Pan, but
I think Peter Pan and Hercules would lend itself to live action remake, whereas Lion King's obviously all going to be CG, we
Yeah.
assume.
101 Dalmatians. Do the dogs talk?
I think so.
No idea.
yeah,
They
Yeah.
do in the
yeah,
cartoon.
they talk to each other, but
Oh.
the humans just hear the barking.
Right.
Oh yeah. Do you think
Shit.
they'd remake them? Because they did 101, 102, 103, Christmas, whatever. Do you think they'd remake them anytime soon?
I
Maybe.
don't know.
Well, they did do it because they got Jeff Daniels as.
Yeah, but
you
like,
talking about
yeah, I'm saying I know they did it like,
a few years back.
yeah, like 5,
2000.
6, 10 years, maybe
Yeah.
10 years ago. But I mean, like, do you think in recent times they'll, like, in the next 5 years they'll bring out?
They probably
Maybe.
will. But then, do we want the plot to be exactly the same? Because you were saying Beauty and the Beast is pretty much shot for shot, just with real people. Do we want that, or do we want to see a little bit different?
I feel like if they do live action and they change up the plot a little bit and it's not good, it's going to make me not like it even more. if that makes sense. If they keep the plot the same, then I can at least be like, oh, well, at least the plot is still good, but they just didn't execute it well enough.
Well, then what's the point of
Live action, man.
To bring that cartoon
To life.
to life, to bring that stuff that isn't reality,
And nostalgia.
and that.
And money.
Money.
dollar bills, y'all?
Isn't Hunchback of Notre Dame? Is that a Disney?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I love that film as a child.
Quasimodo.
I felt so bad for that girl.
See, that's the thing. They'd have to treat that quite sensitively in a live action.
Yeah.
Also, actually, on the point of Disney films, so they're bringing out Aladdin, and they brought out Jungle Book, and they brought out Tarzan, and they brought out all these films. Do you think they'll make the sequels? Because there is a sequel to Tarzan, if I remember
They're not
correctly,
I don't think
and there is a sequel to Jungle Book, isn't there?
Yeah, there is.
And there's 2 sequels to Aladdin. So
Yeah,
I don't think they're
a lot of
popular
them are
enough to
direct to
make
DVD,
sequels.
aren't they?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I don't think they're popular enough to make sequels.
but then, if a live action film is popular enough, then does it lead to them thinking maybe
They could take the plot wherever they want, I guess.
Mm.
That might be quite cool. I can't imagine they'll do a Beauty and the Beast sequel.
I don't know if there is such a one, but
I don't know.
I don't even know what that would be.
Exactly.
their child. I don't know. I have it as a beast.
Isn't their child the goat man from Narnia?
But he's the same guy as the one who's in that little centaur thing. There's also one of those in Hercules, isn't there? No?
Don't know, man.
Oh, you got to watch it, man. Well, who would play Hercules? Zac Efron.
That's so bad.
I actually don't know.
He's ginger, isn't he? The Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Maybe we'll have Rupert Grint.
Rupert Grint, that's what I was Ed Sheeran.
Get one of the twins from Desperate Housewives.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's a good shot. That's actually a good shot. No, that's actually a solid shot, to be fair.
Okay. You watched Ace Ventura. the other
Ace
day?
Ventura, classic. What happened to Jim Carrey, man?
No.
Already there.
Had you seen it before? Or
Yeah. So just going through my DVDs, picking it because that's got a sequel that I haven't seen yet. It's on my list.
It's
So
quite funny,
I'll
actually.
talk about it next week. But love a Jim Carrey film. It's just bizarre, isn't he? He's one
Old
of
school
the-
Jim Carrey is decent.
Yeah.
New school, I don't really know what he's done recently, but actually he was in Kick-Ass 2, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
No, he was terrible in that. Alright, give us a review of Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, classic pet detective, isn't it? Although actually, so when I was looking for films to watch, I was going through and because you guys know I'm like terrified of sharks, so I was like going through and I saw Jaws and I was like, no, definitely not. About 20 minutes into Ace Ventura, I realised that he's on this giant tank essentially, and the fucking huge shark jumps out because he's looking for the dolphin, and I was just upset, pooed myself.
Another
Take that out.
Another Ollie toilet story. Another Ollie toilet story. We haven't had one of those this week. Upcoming films then that we kind of want to see. Baywatch trailer dropped. Looks hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you not think? Have you seen? The trailer?
I've seen.
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
I saw a trailer. I don't know if.
A new one came out, a longer one.
Oh,
came
okay. I
out.
haven't seen the long one.
And I personally think it's going to be funny.
Mm.
I think Zac Efron and Dwayne Johnson are going to bounce off each other
Do you
really
think
well.
that they put all the funny jokes in the trailer though, and that's it? Because that
Probably.
is a worry.
Hope not. I really hope not. But
They always do that, though, don't they? For like even
Recently
like,
they do, yeah.
bad neighbours and stuff like that. Yeah.
They don't need to put again. We're banging on about it, but maybe we just start like a petition. Get the trailer to like a minute. Just
Yeah.
have it quick. You
Yeah.
know, just tease me.
Yeah, or just leave it as a teaser trailer, where it's literally just like a split second.
Mm.
No, they've done that loads for Game of Thrones for like the past year.
Mm.
It's just things like it's just images. It's not actually.
Yeah, and the thing is that they release so many different trailers that you could probably, if you cut all the footage from them and put it
Recreate the
together,
film.
you've got the film. Like, what's the one I'm thinking of? So Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, there's two trailers there, both with pretty much different footage, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I've got most of the film now. Even with Ghost in the Shell.
I'm so sick of that trailer, by the way. I don't know if it's because I've been to the cinema and I've seen it literally every time I've been in the
Guardians
cinema.
of the Galaxy.
No, Ghost in the Shell. I'm so sick of it. I'm like,
I pretty much know what happens.
It makes me not want to watch the film.
I had
I'm
no
so
idea
sick of
about it before, and now I've seen the trailer, I'm a bit
Oh.
like, oh.
God.
In that, like, you know, she's a robot thing, and then it's like, oh yeah, we did it save you. 2 seconds later, no, it was all a lie. It's like, oh wow, you
Yeah.
know, okay, cool. Don't really need to see this film now. But Baywatch looks really good, really funny. It kind of feels like it's taking the meta
Yes.
approach. Yeah, you know, because there's a point you mentioned off air, Chris. Zac Efron's like, when you so the trailer is obviously they're lifeguards, and then some sort of crime happens, and then they're trying to chase the bad guy, and then Zac Efron's like, why don't you just leave this to the police? It's like, yes, thank you. You are literally saying what we're thinking here. So I'm looking forward to that.
Go on.
I was gonna say, David. Does anyone know if David Hasselhoff's gonna?
He's going,
he's
hasn't
got
he?
to. Him and Pamela
I
Anderson.
hope so. Oh God. I can't relate.
I was going to mention that because you said that I think it was Chris. Sorry, that you think Zac Efron and Dwayne Johnson are going to bounce off each other. I like that in films where it's unexpected pairs
Chemistry.
that
Charisma,
have
yeah.
a really good chemistry. Yeah.
Like Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum in
Yeah.
21 Jump
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah, they actually do, and they're so good.
Jonah Hill and pretty much anyone, to be fair.
Yeah, him and Seth Rogen's bromance is great.
Well, I'm going to bounce off of your point of about Jonah Hill. I don't know if I discussed this last time, but I watched War Dogs.
Oh, is that
Okay.
any good? Him and
It's
Mars
alright. It's alright. It's definitely an insight into a world of like war and like the selling of arms, I guess.
Is it comedic or is it?
No,
It's not.
no.
Oh, I just assumed
It's not. It has funny bits, but I think it's meant to be a bit serious. But
Mm.
then also, I suppose you see the funny side because like Jonah Hill's character kind of plays it a bit funny and like just thinks everything's going to be all right and this kind of attitude. I don't know if it's based on a true story.
It is.
It is because if it
Oh,
is, that
it's-
is messed up.
Dramatized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pretty good film. I'd say go and watch it.
I was gonna see it in the cinema.
I've just written it down on my wrist because I did want to watch it.
Oh.
I forgot with the name.
Yeah.
I was just gonna look up CIA arms dealing film.
I remembered what I was gonna say now. So, unexpected chemistry between characters. Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds apparently are, you know.
I've got a bromance.
Yeah, little bromance. There's a video of them like, you know, just ribbing each other and stuff.
Yeah, I love him. I don't know why, but I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a really underrated actor, I think.
Yeah. He's in
but-
some great films.
Yeah, yeah. So that was
Strong beard game as
that
well.
was because those two are in
Life.
the new film Life coming out, which is
We're gonna see?
yeah. So we saw the trailer actually when me and Chris went to see Get Out. Oh mate, that was riveting.
Yeah,
we
it
were,
was, yeah.
I was on the edge of my seat just for that trailer, so I'm quite
Really wanna
excited
see
about
it,
the film.
So it's a sci-fi film that it's set in the International Space Station. It's got
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, Rebecca Ferguson, a few other
Nice.
people.
Yeah.
And they find symbiotic life or something.
From Mars.
Yeah, and then that ties kind of into the thing that I read earlier. I don't know if you read it as well, but earlier this week, because obviously Venom got announced, and I don't know if it was a fan or one of the production people said that it could link in with the Venom film as the symbiotic.
So
But
that would be really smart.
I would, but then that's a very far-lined cast, really, to like get that. Because isn't Ryan? Well, I don't know if Ryan Reynolds would want to be part of that. Dub it as part of the Marvel universe again, really.
Depends if he survives the film.
Bum, bum, bum.
Who is Life? Is it a Sony film or is it?
I don't know actually.
So now,
Chris out
if
for
it is,
people.
they'll give a bit more life to the.
Hey.
So is Venom going to
Hey.
be? Oh well, there you go. Is Venom? I'm assuming Venom's going to be made by Sony.
Yeah. it must-
Sony / Marvel, like they did with like they're doing with Spider-Man, I think.
So is he going to be one of the villains of, like the MCU then?
I don't know if he's that. I don't know if he's big enough to be. Oh, what do you mean?
It's
Just
a
as a
It's going to be a
standalone
yeah.
film. So that might lead on to
Sinister
And
6 or
if
something?
he's part of that. I
Did
don't
they
know.
say it was? Didn't they? I might be completely making this up, but didn't someone say that they were going to do the Venom film and Spider-Man's like not even going to be a part of it?
I don't think. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah,
Really?
I think so.
But who's going to...
Because
I think we talked about this last week, saying that, or I mentioned that I'd like to see like a villainous film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going off of, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're also seeing Free Fire this week, which you want to see.
Oh yeah.
Need to book your
I
ticket.
mentioned that.
Book your ticket.
Yeah. Well,
Because we're seeing a screening where there's 15 minutes of footage of another film, which I literally have no idea what it will be. So that'll be quite exciting, and hopefully
unless it's something you've already seen.
no, it should be something.
Unless it's
that's
Power Rangers.
Oh God, yeah, I wouldn't sit through 15
Yes!
minutes of that. But assuming that we're not embargoed, we will tell you what it is next week.
yeah, that's a good point. Actually,
We might be embargoed because we got approached when we were going to see the anime film about
Oh yeah.
about another film saying get a free screening, test screening,
Mm.
but we didn't quite fit the demographic. But I doubt we would have been able to talk about that either. Maybe we could WikiLeaks it, but we
Life
found
is
that
Columbia Pictures.
Oh.
Is that?
they might be owned by Sony. I don't know. got to dig deeper.
Distribution by Columbia Pictures. Production company Skydance Media.
Yeah, but who are Columbia Pictures owned by?
I'm gonna check that now. Sony.
Ooh,
So maybe.
detective. Does anyone else want to mention anything before we conclude?
I've been watching Iron Fist. And no, it's got a lot of stick, a lot of stick. But I think it's progressively getting better. I'm on episode 10 or 11, can't quite remember. It's on my Netflix, I'm sure it'll pop up. But I think it's getting better, and there's a lot of good twists, I think.
Okay.
Ben, do you mind if I spoil it for you? Or
No.
do you not give a shit?
Don't give a shit.
Ollie, you going to watch Iron Fist? No. Okay, cool. So, is it just me? I've only watched 8 episodes now. But the stuff with the Meachums is so much more interesting than the stuff with Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Or
However,
does it get more interesting
I think
as it goes on?
Episode 9, 10 or 11, I can't remember which, it is getting more interesting with him as well.
Okay.
But the Meachums one is still predominantly more interesting.
Like, I feel like I could watch a TV show with just revolving around their life and their
Please
business.
don't make a TV. Whoever's listening,
No, don't do that.
Don't.
But I could watch it.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the bit where Ward kills his dad. Yeah, spoilers. Where Ward kills his dad, I was like, oh shit. Like, I didn't, obviously until you see him eye up the knife, like before that you had no inkling. He was embezzling money from Rand Industries or whatever it's called. Like, didn't know any idea that was happening either. So like, it came out of, it's just so much more enthralling than the rest of the film. And after that, he's like trying to tell his sister Joy like what's going on with him, because obviously he's popping pills as well. He's a pill addict, and she knows this, but he's not telling her why. And obviously, he's the stress of him being like, he saw like a dead body and all stuff like that. Him having to keep a secret from pretty much the whole world that his dad's still alive, even though everyone thinks he's dead. Like, I think that's led him to a pill addiction, and now he's killed his dad, and he hasn't told anyone. And pretty much wherever he goes, he just sees blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can tell that it's properly eating him up inside. And instead of telling his sister, he just lashes out on her, and like, I think he's pushing her further and further away.
There's a clever bit. This is why you need to watch the next few episodes, because I think you'll like it. You'll either like it or you won't.
Okay.
Some parts.
Okay.
But that blood thing does come about again.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you gotta watch it. You'll enjoy it. I think.
But I like it. I don't think it's like, people have been proper giving it. I don't think it's alright.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Jessica Jones. I always say I'm not a fan of Jessica Jones personally. I still haven't finished it. I've only got like 9 episodes in. But I prefer Iron Fist to Jessica Jones. I don't know if that makes me a misogynist or what.
Have you noticed the little snippets as well of the doctor lady who keeps saying "Sweet Christmas" as well?
Yeah.
It's Christmas time.
Yeah. I don't know if they meant this, or if this person's actually a character in the comics, but you know that the person who plays Danny Rand is Loras Tyrell from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And he mentions several times that he's got a friend called Davos. And obviously Davos is a character in Game of Thrones as well. So I don't know if Davos is an actual character in the Iron Fist comic, or if they've just, tried to, do a little link up there. That was pretty cool hearing that.
We're talking about the contrast between critical reception of Iron Fist and public reception of Iron Fist. Like, there was Brett Ratner, who's the director. He's directed lots of films. I think he did Rush Hour amongst lots of others. Basically, he came out and had a go at the website Rotten Tomatoes. He said that it's bad for the industry, basically, because essentially Rotten Tomatoes is a website where critics will give it a score, and they aggregate that down to one number, and then the public will give it a score and they aggregate that as well. So, example for like Iron Fist, the critical score is really low, but the popularity score, for just you and I, the average critic, is a lot higher.
Yeah.
And I think even Netflix said it's one of its most popular Marvel series, like in terms of how many people watch it and rate it. So, what do you think about Rotten Tomatoes' website? Is it bad for the industry, or is it, what do you think?
I don't know. Like, if Rotten Tomatoes isn't there, then when are people just? I think it's a good, like, for me, if I'm thinking about a film, or I Google a film and I see that it's only got, like, I don't know, 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and think, oh, it's not.
We've also got IMDb.
Yeah, IMDb as well. Yeah, true. I think and also, like, I don't know if anyone else sees this, but I feel like ratings are always a bit higher on IMDb than they are on.
I think it's a better reflection of what majority of people think, rather than critics' response to films.
But the thing, I feel like, I don't know about other people, I feel like I don't take that much mind in, because there are like dozens of films on Rotten Tomatoes that have got shit ratings, but I love. So like,
But is the rating that you see the critical rating or the popular rating?
I think it's the critical rating.
Thing is though, I feel like Rotten Tomato is there to give the worst possible opinion of a film.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because they are. You never see one that is sky high with critic rating.
Didn't they put Get Out as 10 out of 10?
I'm not sure.
Did they?
Yeah.
It was 100. It was 100% for.
100%, so,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure, but I remember listening to a video where someone was describing how the Rotten Tomatoes thing works. So isn't it like, let's say for example, 100 critics go to watch the film, 40 of them say they like it, 60 of them say they don't like it, so it gets a 40% rating. Is that how it goes?
I assume so, yeah.
I think it's something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't it just aggregate all the scores? So if you give it 7 out of 10, Chris gives it 5 out of 10, then they'll aggregate that as or average it out as 6. I don't know.
Or is it done based on who is more critically acclaimed as a critical and
Critic.
As a critic.
as a critic? Yeah. Is
I
it
don't
done like
know.
that? Maybe.
Don't know. I imagine all the people who qualify to put their thing on Rotten Tomatoes are respected, like
People.
journalists. Journalists? Or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm not sure, but me personally, I feel like people like you shouldn't base your opinion of a film from what's on Rotten Tomatoes. Like if you see a film and you think it's intriguing or interesting, then go and watch it, and then have your own opinion.
The only good thing about that is that, well, two things, is that if they say a film is shit, you kind of want to go and see it, and you feel good. If you're like, yeah, well, actually, the film was good, so Rotten Tomatoes, screw you.
Yeah.
But in some respects, like, if you see a film's got terrible reviews, you might, might put people off seeing it. But then, like what you're saying, Ollie, is you think, oh, why has this got such a bad review? You go and see it, and you sort of, it exceeds your expectations. On the flip side, with films like Get Out, 100%, 5 stars, 5 stars, you go and see it, and you're like, oh, if it's not your own 5 stars, then it can actually hinder your opinion of the film, and that happens to me quite a lot. Like all the Nice Guys,
That's a good point.
Get Out,
Yeah.
like so many films that I overhyped because of all the stuff I've
Man
seen.
Still.
Yeah. Has that got a good rating?
No.
Man Still was a
But
cunt of a film.
Someone did tell us it was one of the best films they've ever seen.
Yeah, Joe, that's why he's no longer on his fucking
Um,
podcast. No, family works too much. But no, it's like, yeah, so I go into those films and I'm like, it's not as if I'm going to be like, this is going to be the best film I've ever seen, but, I think, okay, well, a lot of people that I respect their opinion have said it's good. I go in and,
It's not what you thought it was.
it's alright, I have, but that's the thing, I need to avoid, I need to avoid critic.
This is the thing, like, you need to avoid people lowering or building up your expectations, because then I feel like, if anything, you need your expectation to be lower, so that when you see it, you're either at the same level or you'll think, oh, that's better than I thought it was going to be, rather than people, for example, Joe, saying that, like, Man of Steel is one of the best films he's ever seen, and then I go and see it and I think it's pretty rubbish, to be honest. So I think people just need to be able to manage their own expectations.
Do you
So
think...
then it was all down to subjective.
is.
Of course.
I'm just going to quickly say why I think Rotten Tomatoes can be actually bollocks, because they think, I think Supergirl, the TV show, has got like something in the 90% region on Rotten Tomatoes, and for me it's comfortably the worst of the 4 CW TV shows that are...
They're going to come back and say, you're a critic, totally shit podcast, don't listen to it.
Which of course is not true.
Any publicity is good publicity, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know, again, obviously, I don't know how it works. Maybe, though, the people who like superhero shows or films, they're probably going to be the critics and journalists who review it, right? Because not every critic watches every film and reviews every film. That would be the fairest system, I guess. But, if you like superhero films, you watch it and then you review it, and you'll probably if you like that sort of thing anyway, then you might already, add an extra couple of stars on, whereas, someone like Ollie, if you saw it, you probably wouldn't bother reviewing it, maybe. or you probably wouldn't watch it in the first place. I don't know. I mean, obviously, critics, their job is to watch a lot of content. But
Whenever we talk about critics, I don't know why, but I can only ever think of Ratatouille, because obviously there's that critic from the food.
The food critic.
I don't know why. Just always pops into my head.
But would you think then, when a film is reviewed, should it basically be reviewed by people who are like that sort of thing, so you can kind of get an opinion? What I mean by that is, critic A, who likes superhero films, they review a superhero film, and they can then be like, oh yeah, Infinity War is great, it's a lot better than Age of Ultron, it's not quite as good as Civil War, blah blah blah. Whereas someone who doesn't like superhero films is going to go in and be like, this film is just destroying cities, it's a load of shit. Like, what level of... I
think they should mix it. So you should have the people who are... I think it should be maybe majoritarily people who are into that, whatever genre it is they're reviewing. And then you should have a section of people who aren't that into the genre, or not into it at all, so then they can review it. So then people who don't like that genre, and then they go to watch it, they can say, oh, I wonder what... And if the critic states, I'm not normally the sort of person who watches, for example, the superhero genre, but blah, 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 then someone who's reading that and is not into the superhero genre could be like, oh, okay, this person's a bit like me, they're not really into this sort of thing, so I'll see what they think about it.
I think this sounds like a good social experiment. We should try and conduct this.
Because it is
Get
quite
a group of people who are interested in...
Why I see reviews, mate.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, because, it's tough to relate to some critics, because I don't know what sort of films they like. Maybe someone gives a bad review to a film because they just don't like the actress, or they don't like the director, or they don't like the that sort of genre. But then, so that you don't really know why they're saying this bad review. There's not complete transparency there.
Like Chris and Zack Snyder.
Yeah, thinking every bad film's been directed by him. It is. But then there's things like, so I went to see La La Land because there was a lot of hype, and I don't really like musicals, but I did quite like that film. So if in a review for that, if you ever want to use my review, then please do. You say, well, Glenn doesn't normally like musicals, but he said it's really good, whereas Chris loves musicals, and he said he didn't like it for this reason. So I don't know. Maybe reviews need to be I like this genre camp, and I don't normally watch this genre camp. And then,
copyright yacreviews.com
2017. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 9 of Your Average Critics. I hope you enjoyed our discussion on Power Rangers. Quite a lengthy discussion there.
It was.
Amongst a whole lot of other things. Disney, Kong, Beauty and the Beast.
Bit of a mishmash.
Mishmash, hodgepodge.
To give you another little bit of info, apparently they might be casting for Deadpool's, not villain, but Cable. Rumour has it might be Michael Shannon.
Ooh, there you go. A little post-credit to the podcast there. Well, do follow us on Twitter at YAC Podcast 17 and like us on Facebook, Your Average Critics, and also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. It's also on SoundCloud. Give us a lovely review, and just
or not.
No, do. Positive or negative?
Review us.
It would be nice to get your feedback, positive or negative. To be fair, we want to have this show evolve and grow. So please do get involved and tune in next week. Bye.
Bye.
Fuck you, Obi.
Fuck you.
Wrong. Fuck you, Chris.
Man. I hate you.
Fuck you. We've just seen the Justice League trailer.
And it looks sick.
And it was split opinions. Look.
It looks so good.
Look, listeners.
Don't take
Don't
as a trailer.
Ever take Obi's opinion on superhero films.
I resent this. Thank you very much.
Don't ever take Glenn's opinion on superhero films.
So, we just watched Justice League trailer. It seemed to have been released whilst we were recording episode 9, so we're adding this as a little podcast extra. So a little treat for you guys. So, okay. Boom. Justice League. Coming out November. Ollie, why did you hate it? The trailer.
Trailer, it's just not really, it's just a big fight, isn't it? I don't want to see a big fight.
You want to see a big fight?
Nah.
You want to see more character development or something?
Yeah. Plus, I don't know anything about Justice.
They showed that in the first trailer.
I don't know anything about the Justice League lot anyway. I think they're like a group of misfits that I just don't care. Batman is cool. Batman is cool in his own universe. I don't want him to get involved in some Aquaman universe.
So you don't want a Justice League film full stop?
Yeah.
So that's why you think the trailer's rubbish?
Yeah.
So the actual trailer in itself, is it rubbish?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Alright,
I
okay.
don't believe you.
Right, we'll try and do this a balanced way because Obi and Chris liked it and me and Ollie didn't. So, Obi, why did you like the trailer?
I just want to look sick. Like, you got to see everyone.
You got loud noises and bangs.
Yeah, you got to see the action, because I think in the first trailers you kind of got him recruiting them, sort of thing. So you kind of get like a little hint of background story, sort of thing. In this one, you get all the action, Aquaman doing some nut stuff, jumping off some the Batmobile into something. You see a little bit of Barry Allen origin, because I think I'm assuming his dad in prison. Yeah, I'm assuming. So it would be nice if they give us a little bit of that. I just thought it was really good. It makes me want to watch it. I thought it was good, man.
Right, what's the plot then?
Huh?
What's the plot?
Why do I need to know the plot?
It's a trailer.
Why do I need to know the plot?
We
always talk about trailers giving away too much. So
I don't want it to give away too much.
Fences. I didn't know the plot about that at all, and that was a fantastic.
I'll tell you why you don't need to know the plot within this trailer, because you know what the plot is because of the previous film. Batman vs Superman touched on the fact that there's a greater threat coming. That's his dream. What his dreams about with all the alien things, and also if you watch the extended bit, you see the bit with the godlike creature at the very end, don't you?
I haven't seen the extended.
Oh.
Also, I don't know. I might be completely making this up. In the first trailer, doesn't it shows Batman recruiting him? Doesn't he say like a war is coming or something? Like
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that's the plot, man. War's coming.
True.
Why didn't you like it, Glenn?
It would just right. So I ain't got a clue what's going on.
It looks cheesy.
I don't want them to tell me the whole plot. I just want it to have a. Obviously, I know they're fighting.
Both ways, go.
No, I don't. Like, because I said to you before. I said to you just while we were watching the trailer. I was like, I bet they show Superman at the end.
Yeah.
And they didn't, which is good because that would be too much of a spoiler.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a single shred of what the plot is going to be, apart from the fact that they're fighting an invisible, a greater threat. I mean,
But are you going to watch it?
Oh, I'm gonna have to, aren't I?
So then it doesn't matter. Well, you don't. Why do you care what the plot is? You're gonna watch it anyway.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna enjoy it. I don't think it's gonna be shit. I think it's gonna be shit.
I think from that trailer, it's gonna be the best DC film since they've started it again.
That isn't saying much, though.
Well, it is, because you didn't think anything could get worse than Man of Steel, and then you got Batman versus Superman. I mean,
And Suicide Squad.
And Suicide Squad, and they're all pretty shit, and everyone was
Wonder Woman
pretty
might
bad.
be good.
I think let's follow the trend. They're all gone down, so this is now rock bottom.
This is
the trend. We're looking at the trend. The graph is pointing down, Obi.
Nah, this is their redemption.
This is at the bottom.
Nah.
I don't know.
The end of DC.
I think it was such a gloomy trailer, but then they kept injecting bits of comedy into it.
What's wrong with that?
Because I don't feel like that's in keeping with the DC
Mate, you are
universe.
a Rotten Tomato
They're
critic, mate.
rebooting it.
You are a
No, 'cause they're
Rotten
not.
Tomato critic, mate. Oh my.
I'm gonna throw Rotten Tomatoes at you in a minute, you
Chris,
twat.
why did you like it?
I don't like it. I just thought that it engulfed the original trailer in it, which is good because because sometimes they just throw away that original trailer and then they just add loads and loads and loads of stuff. You saw a bit of action. You saw that all four of them are going to be involved in this action. You saw origin stories of Cyborg and you saw origin story of Flash in there. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a bit of a rugby or American football thing, and that's Cyborg's. And the prison bit is Barry Allen and his dad. So that's pretty good. I mean, it shows that they're going to do maybe touch on a bit of origin, but obviously that's what the individual films are for, the origin stories. There's a lot of action. You can see that they're all involved. They're all like being like teammate-ish, and then that comedy injected almost shows that they're not quite teammate-like. Also, when you see Lois Lane, it almost gives you the sense that Superman is going to be back. I don't know what she was looking up at. It might have been just the action in general, or it might be Superman. You never know. Superman might not even be in this film, because I'm pretty sure Justice League originally is meant to start with 7 or 8 founders. Not doing that, so you never know where it goes. But I think just general. I think it was a good trailer. Like if you take it for just being a trailer rather than you not liking all the other films or you just thinking that DC's going to be absolutely turmoil. I think this would, as a trailer, is good.
And they made Aquaman like a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, boss man. I think
And
maybe
funny.
I think I do admit that my probably
Your hatred for,
yes
for DC.
it's my opinion's clouded.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But then as much as I think it is, I could go on the flip side that maybe my passion for it to my want for it to be good
Yeah.
is maybe clouding my judgment.
That's a fair point.
And
I think I'm the same.
I feel like, although I did say it before we went to see Suicide Squad, I said it was going to be rubbish, and it was. However, I did think Batman vs Superman was going to be good,
So did I.
and it wasn't what we expected.
we've been
but,
burned so many times.
Yeah.
I've just got two quick questions. Is Zack Snyder directing this one?
I think so.
Yeah?
I think so.
Cool. Did you guys think Man of Steel or Batman v Superman? Which one do you think was worse?
Probably Man of Steel.
Okay. Chris?
It's a tricky one because I think Man of Steel had like a good, like not a good storyline, but had a storyline to go by. Well, I know this did have a storyline, Batman vs Superman, but it was a bit just jagged and it missed out loads of stuff. So I think personally, and because I don't like who played Lex Luthor, and I don't like how they stopped the fight and how little of a fight there was, and the baddie in Batman vs Superman. I think I'm gonna have to say Batman vs Superman's the worst one. However, I will say this till he's no longer part of it. Ben Affleck is a good Batman.
Fair enough. Ollie, have you seen either of those films?
Yeah, I've seen both of them.
Okay, which one do you prefer?
I'd prefer Man of Steel, but I'd prefer it if it was about half an hour.
Yes.
So like the last half an hour didn't
That
exist.
Peter Griffin chicken fight between fucking
Yeah,
Superman
exactly.
and the other kid.
I don't know why they insist on having these extremely long fight sequences.
So
Where it's like,
long.
Like they're equally matched. Okay, then suddenly the good guy gets like a 1-up, but then the bad guy's got like it's really cliche because they do the same thing for everything. I swear now, and yeah, it's just...
Do we think Wonder Woman's going to be any good?
Yes, I do.
I don't.
I think I'm the only one.
I don't like the riff that.
I like her.
I like that.
I like her theme
I
music.
like
Oh, that's good, man.
That was cool.
It's gonna be. He's not gonna like it because it's gonna be like almost Captain America-esque. I think.
Cyborg is basically a shit Iron Man. Just putting it out there.
To be fair, that's the only thing I'll say. I think, Cyborg's outfit, or not outfit, but machine.
His
machinery.
get-up.
His get up, yeah. It didn't look. I think it looked too CGI-y. Personally.
True, but then his body is primarily
this is the thing,
robots. So what
so,
you're gonna do?
yeah.
Really, that's the thing.
Just maybe look maybe.
I think his origin story might be quite a good one, maybe.
Okay, well, we'll definitely talk about that when it comes out in November, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more trailers between now and then.
Flash TV series. Flash is better than the DC Universe Flash.
Yeah.
No, not current Barry Allen. Because current Barry Allen's a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah, this is true.
He's
this
a
is true,
moron.
This is true.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll take that back then.
And on that note, I hope you enjoyed the little podcast extra.